and welcome to the Divorce Lab. We're a group of independent professionals working to help educate the public on various topics related to divorce. I am Carrie Goldring, a certified divorce lending professional who specializes in mortgage planning.
And I'm Mark Avezai. I'm a certified divorce financial analyst. I work primarily in Troy, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Jim Chryssikos. I'm a family law attorney and mediator located in Troy, Michigan. So let's get started with today's show, because we've talked a lot about small businesses, closely held businesses, single owner businesses. What about the business where one of the spouses has a group of partners? And in this example, say there's a buy-sell agreement that says exactly, this is how much you're entitled to receive if you decide to sell your share. And they rely on that. And they say, well, hey, look, it says right here in the buy-sell agreement, if I sell my shares, I have to sell it to my other partners, and I'm going to get $250,000, no more, no less, as an example. Yeah. What do you do in a situation like that? Is that, are you stuck with that number, or is that just a starting point?
It's a data point. Mm-hmm. It may be what you end up concluding on. It may be, and I have. I've had a couple of cases that I can think about just right off the bat where that have been arbitrated. Same arbitrator, actually, on both cases. And one of them was a medical practice where my client was not making a market wage, was working his tail off, and was working 2.5 times more than the average based on market metrics, and was making about average for that specialty. And he was considering leaving the practice. He hadn't been there that long. He had bought in for $5,000, and if he sold, would get his $5,000 back. And it was very clear that that's what his interest was worth. It was worth the $5,000 that he had paid for it, that he would get back, because he was so severely underpaid. There's another case, again, same arbitrator, but a very different fact pattern, where there was a buy-sell agreement where, and I still remember the number, the owner was given the interest, and if he had left, he would have received $8,310. However, by virtue of the fact that he was given that interest, his compensation a few years before the divorce went from $150,000 a year to about $700,000 a year. It was a big company. He was one of many owners, and they were very profitable, and he was getting about $550,000 a year in additional money just because he was holding that stock. Mm-hmm. And so it had enormous value to him. $8,310 was not the answer to that question. So it depends on the situation. It really does. But it's absolutely something that's fair game to look at and to consider.
And I would imagine the argument would be, why would you leave and get $8,310 when you can continue working for the foreseeable future and earn $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 annually?
Exactly.
So if there's no intention of leaving anytime in the near future, if there's no evidence that
he'd been with the company for like 30 years.
Yeah, right.
So exactly.
Why wouldn't he just continue and make that money, and then you would value it based on the revenue it's generating for it, or the income, I should say.
The income. Yep, exactly.
Great.
Yep, that's a good question.
Ben wanted to get a hold of you. What's the best way to reach you?
I can be reached. My work number is 248-712-3712. My email address is BBERSHAD, so Bershad at BershadValuation.com. It's singular valuation. And those are both acceptable ways to get a hold of me, and I always endeavor to get back within 24 hours, unless I'm on vacation or in trial or something. You'll hear back from me within 24 hours.
Wonderful. And anything that you want to leave us with that we didn't cover?
There's so much. I've
so much.
I've been doing this. This is my 20th year of doing it, and when Mark asked if I was, willing to come on and just talk about what I do, I said, "How many hours do you have?" I could sit here and pontificate all afternoon and evening, and I'd be happy to do that with anybody that wants to call me and ask me questions. I try to be as approachable as possible, and the topics can get a little nerdy at times when you're talking about valuation and numbers and all that stuff. I guess I should say that in addition to doing valuation, which is kind of the core of what I've done in my career, I also do a ton of income determination. So what are the parties' incomes for support purposes, child support or alimony, also known as spousal support. So a lot of times it's a big question as to what their income is for support purposes. I get brought in on cases all the time where they don't own a business, but income for support. Yeah. And it's interesting because we've got 3 people on this call right now that are all in the financial industry. And then there are other people that are also in the financial industry that are not on our call. There are thinking that any one of us can do the other's job is a fallacy. And it's something that, again, if we have clients that are not financially savvy, they don't necessarily appreciate where my job starts and my job ends and Mark starts, or vice versa. And it's the financial world is very large and it's incredibly specialized. And that's why Mark and I have worked on cases together. In fact, I think the 3 of us have one case that we've all pitched in on, and it's because there are a lot of really complicated issues going on with that case. In addition to the 3 of us, I've also gotten a CPA involved to help with things that are specific to accounting and taxes. So I'm not an accountant, but I do valuation and I do income things, and accountants they can do financial statements, they can do tax returns, but they can't do valuation necessarily. So there's a lot of specialization, and it's important to make sure that you're getting the right people on your team for whatever the issues are.
Right. Yeah. It can be looked at from all different angles, and they're all just as important.
Right.
That's true. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate having you so much. It sounds like we're going to have you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ben.
You know my number.
Thank you for listening to us today. You can find us on the divorcelab.com. You can feel free to take a look at our other episodes, and you can also leave some questions or comments for us on there as well.